Good evening. It is Tuesday, July 26th, and my name is Bill McCamley. I'm a state representative from Las Cruces, New Mexico, and this is your legislative update for the day. I am back in Las Cruces, but was in Albuquerque all day, first for a meeting in the morning of the Interim Science and Technology Committee, where we talked about what UNM is doing to interact with the national labs up there in order to both increase jobs and education. We also talked about STEM education as an overall concept and what some of the problems are, specifically with recruiting science and math teachers into our schools and how we work on programs that can encourage people to do that more. The last thing we talked about that meeting is something I'm personally involved with, which is computer science education. So there are currently, let me see if I get this right, 600,000 unfilled jobs in the United States in the computer science field. And more of the STEM jobs that are coming out are in computer science. Not only that, more and more jobs in other fields are requiring computer education to know how to basic code as we become more and more of a digital economy. And so one of the things we want to encourage people to do, students, if they're interested, is get into computer science. Learn it in middle school and high school. And one of the real messages that was brought out by this professor of computer science at UNM was that if you're starting to learn computer science when you're a freshman in college, you're going to be way behind. And so starting earlier at that middle, at that high school level is going to be vitally important. One of the other things we talked about, and I thought was very interesting, was that in terms of the amount of minority and women that are involved in computer science, it's really, really low. So for the United States, less than 15% of computer science majors are female, and less than 10% are Hispanic, Native, or African American. And that's really not good, because there's nothing about the equipment between your legs or the color of your skin that gives you a jump up in doing computer science well. So one of the things we talked about is how we try to get more minorities and women into computer science. And last week I actually attended a camp at New Mexico State called the Women in Computer Science Program, which is attempting to do that. So I have a bill coming forward in the upcoming session, if I'm reelected, that will allow for computer science to count for a math or a science course in high school. And we think that's one of the ways to get more schools teaching computer science and hopefully get more kids interested in the topic and learning what they need to move forward there. The second thing I want to talk about is the aid in dying issue. So there was another committee meeting on the other side of Albuquerque that I went to present the concept of what we're trying to do, which is to say, look, if you are terminally ill and if you are mentally capable of making your own decisions, you need to be able to make your own decisions at the end of your life. So if you have cancer and you're going to die from it, you should be able to work with a doctor and take a drug that will proactively end your life at the time of your choosing. Because of the experience I had with my father, where we were able to discuss his end-of-life situation, when it became real, when he was diagnosed with the illness that it would eventually kill him, we were able to then enjoy the rest of our lives together. And it allowed my family and I to really take what we could get from him and with him as we moved forward. And I really see that same situation in a lot of places for folks that want that peace of mind. They've been doing this in Oregon for 20 years, and it's worked really, really well. And I want that to happen here. So that's another piece of legislation I will be sponsoring moving forward, trying to give all New Mexicans the ability to choose their own end-of-life pathways according to their own spiritual beliefs and in accordance with what they and their families want to decide. Right now, that's not legal. And the worst part about that is, because it's legal in Oregon and California and Washington and Montana and Vermont now, you can make that choice if you have the money to move to one of those places. But I just don't think that making your own end-of-life decisions should be based on how much money you have or even moving away from the family and the town that you love. So I'll be working with that a lot more in the future. Couple more things. I was called a murderer today on the phone. Someone read about this in the newspaper, that decision, and left a message, which kind of sucks. That's not ever nice to hear, but I had so much more positive interaction from people that were emailing me and getting in contact with me on Facebook and calling and saying thank you for doing this. That was really cool. I think we all need to do a little bit better of a job of telling our stories more. I think I've been trying over the last year to really try to meet people where they're at by listening to their stories. And I think I'm going to try to tell my story more on these types of issues that I care about. So thanks again for listening to this. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns on these or any other topics, I'd love to hear from you. Appreciate it. Hope you all are having a wonderful week. Bye.